Yeah, I'll just position the stake. I flipping wasn't wearing my gloves. I just realised the creosote, because it's got so hot, the creosote's starting to ooze out of the wood. Which is, you've got to be careful with that on your hands because it will burn. Look, and if you look at the top where I've whacked it with a sledgehammer the other day, look at that, it's oozing out. Same on this one, look. The creosote's oozing out where I've bashed it. So creosote's really good, but you have to be careful. I mean, I don't want to try and rub my face too much. That's easier said than done. I just thought I'd stop before I whack that in. Some basic tools I've got here. Steel bar. Now this bar has been here as long as me. Fantastic thing. It's got a little thing on the end. It's just a long length of steel. Now I don't know where that came from. My dad must have bought it. But it's ideal for making a post hole or jemmy or thing. The shovel on the other hand, not so good. This is probably 50 years old. I do need to buy a new shovel. Well, it's not a shovel, it's a spade, isn't it? Look at that. It's worn out, it's worn down. I don't know how much more worn I can make it to make my life even harder, because that's probably needs to be another couple of inches longer. It's a great spade, spade, because it's got a good edge on it, it's really sharp, digs well, and lucky the ground here isn't too bad, but I need to buy a new one. But this one's probably 50 years old as well. That's been here as long as that bar. So, need to buy a new spade. On the shopping list, new spade saw. New spade saw. I've been saying that for ages. Need to get on and do it. Right, I'm going to whack that in. Then I can put the other, and then I can maybe tack a rail to it, and then I can line up where the other post has got to go. All right. Right, in. Hey, a couple of tips here for you. I've just put the saw around there. So I've just filled that back in. Give that a good boot down. Be careful not to touch too much of that creosote, but that's quite firm. Firm up, it'll firm up over time, and before you know it, these won't be loose. Well, it's not a couple of tips, one tip, right? And this is a rookie error I see a lot when people dig holes for whatever, for trees or for fencing or anything like that, is they dig the dirt out and then they don't think about where they're putting it, and they just chuck it around anywhere, around the pile or behind them or anywhere. But you've got to be thinking that saw's got to go back in that ground, around the post. So when you dig out, you need to put it around the edge, maybe in a pile, but not just sprinkled everywhere, because you want to be able to get it back in the hole. So that's a little tip there for anyone digging a hole for a tree or anything. Don't just chuck it around behind you. Think about it and think about putting it back in later. Right, so that's in. We're going to just line up. I think I'll tack one on, then I can work out where this post has got to go here. All right. I just tacked one nail on the middle there. Keep that up, it can still move. So I've just tacked it. So then I can just line up this post here. Oh, fencing on your own. This has got to go here. Oh, let's move that. Fencing on your own, not so good as fencing with someone else. Hang on, that's going in. So that's got to go about there, isn't it? And then I want to be able to get that in the middle there roughly. So that's got to go about there. Look, I'm gradually creating. Let's let that down. It's got to go there. X marks the spot. But I'm creating a gap as I'm shortening these rails, but that doesn't matter. Look at this. And you can see right down that far end. Look, when I do that, those ones there are wobbling. It's like a vibration all the way through. And that's been patched and patched. Because I put an extra one, that one of those must be off. I reckon that's the newer one. That one's probably off completely. Well, that one doesn't seem that great. Look, hang on, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for look at that. Put 2 posts, that one's off, and we put 2 in the middle there because obviously it wasn't strong enough and it seems to have gone down a bit lower. Right, I'm just going to whack that one in, and then I won't film that bit. I'll just put that in, and then we'll just nail the rails on, and we're done this section then. All right, lovely. Ta-da! Right, I've got this one in. Creosote's weeping out the top of that where I've whacked in as well. I have actually just lowered this down a little bit. The ground seems to be sloping this way. Look, can you see the height? It's going that way a little bit lower. So I'm going to drop it down. I've dropped it down a little bit. These are going to come out this afternoon after lunch. I'm going to stop in a minute. I'm quite pleased how it's going. And, you know, I might tidy the tops up. I don't know whether to bother cutting the tops off. So, Will, if you're watching this, sorry I didn't tidy your tops up. So I got a friend who's got a paddock, and I did a bit of fencing there, and he said, "Are you coming back to tidy the tops up?" And I said, "Well, the cows don't mind." And I'm not worried because I can't see them, but I can see these here. The problem is I'm seeing from the farmhouse, looking at them every day, but that one's a little bit high, and these are a little bit lower. Look, that one's lower. Now, that's probably because the ground was softer there. Realistically, I don't know, it's hard. I'm probably not going to cut them off, to be honest. The other thing as well is that if I wanted to, I could put an extra rail on there, which might not be a bad thing because the cows could possibly try and jump over here. So I don't think I'll take anything off the top. If you're going to do it probably for looks, you'd probably take it off, probably leave that much, wouldn't you, and just cut that there. But I'm not going to do that. I never cut my gate posts off. Look, this one's sticking up really proud, and there's a reason for that. Is the reason that about that much is below ground. So if that rots off again, I can drop that down and probably still reuse that post. That one I couldn't, it was too short. Look, that much is rotted off. Look at that inner core. I don't know whether that was actually in the middle, but it was. Look, but that post wasn't long enough to reuse again. If I dropped that much in the ground, which is about right, there was too little length on it, whereas that one's different. That one's got enough length to reuse again. I do the same with the railway sleepers I use. If you drive by along past our farm, you'll see some of the gate posts I've made out of railway sleepers. They're sticking up quite a bit, and maybe they don't look that pretty, and probably people think, why is he doing that? Well, the logic is I can cut that off when it rots off and drop it down another couple of foot and still get another use out of it. Always thinking, as they say. Right, or just tight ass really, isn't it? Right, I'm going to get these nails in and I'm going for my lunch. Getting warm now, it really is. There we go. I'm just finishing off. I'm just watching a buzzard having a scrap with a crow in the air. Actually, let me just get this off here. I think there's a. Can you see the buzzard just flying up there? There it is. He's going off. He's out of focus now. Where is he? Come on, buzzard. Don't go out of focus. Where are you? There it is. Oh, it's hard to focus. So he's gone off that way, and the crow just went that way. It's actually quite funny. I quite often see crows and buzzards having a bit of a pitching battle in the air. I don't know if it's just a little bit of rivalry or whether they're just mucking around or what they're doing, but I'm sure someone who knows about birds will tell me. Oh, right, we'll just get up on here and just finish off this video really. I've done that bit there, look. So, only used 6 stakes. So you can work out the cost of that. 6 lot. Let's cost them at 14 quid each. 4 6s 24, 6 10s are 60, so that's 84 quid worth of stakes just for that section there. And that's me at cost, really. And the rails are free because I've reused those. So you kind of like start running the cost of this. You just don't actually realise the costs of maintaining a farm, do you? It's so I'm saying 84 quid for that section there. And that's me getting it really Billy Basic, not counting the cost of my labour, not costing the count of the any tools you've got to buy, so if you've had to buy tools, the cost of the nails aren't free, disposal of the wood if you have to pay someone to dispose of it. So you're costing a lot of money, and also the gatepost was the place I bought it from was about 45 quid. So you're well over 100 quid for that section there, and that's really basic cost. Can you imagine if you've got to pay someone to do this, what this would cost to do? Hence why farmer fixes are always done, because you can't afford to pay someone to do all this. It's enough of a cost for any farm just to maintain the place, and I think that's what gets lost in kind of cost of production figures and stuff like that. When you look at these dairy companies, look at the cost of production for things like milk, they're always taking into account the cost of your feeds and your electric and stuff like that. But this probably won't get taken into account because every farm's different, aren't they? So not everyone's got a rail fence like this. Some people have hedges or something. But it's all maintenance. And how can you work out an average milk price on so many variables in maintenance costs on a place like this? You know, especially when I'm doing it myself. Right. So I've got to finish off this. I'm stopping now. It's my lunchtime. It took me a while to get that. I'll have a look when I finish this. I want to try and get 2 more sections done before this afternoon, before I go off and do something else. I'm not in a rush on this. I am taking my time. I think this wire has seen better days. That's probably going to be scrap. I don't know why we had a wire run along there. I think that's to probably stop heifers putting their heads through, the little ones, because they will tend to stick their heads through rails. The bottom rail's not too bad. So I might run another lot of wire along there another time, but and of course, let's have a look at this tree as well, because this has been left for ages and I've really got to deal with this now. It's gone down on the fence. Look here. I mean, the reason it's been left is that actually, although it's gone down on the fence, it's blocked the area it's landed on. The cattle aren't going to get through there because it's acting like a fence in itself. So the reality is, as soon as I cut this out, I've got to sort that fence out, which is why it's been left. So what I'll have to do at some point, I'm going to have to, it's good firewood as well, it's apple. And you notice it's still alive, look. Can you see that? Even though the tree is on this side, there's shoots. There's a little baby shoot just coming out there that I've just snapped it off, poor thing. Even though it's come out of the ground halfway, there is some sort of life in it. Not much though. I think you can safely say most of it's dead. Look at that. It's died. Last year I had more leaves on it. The mistletoe's looking sad, so I think that's died. Look, but you can tell where the nature in the tree still is, because that's growing. But also, if you look at the mistletoe there, it's still green, isn't it? It's a lot greener. Come on, focus, 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 focus. Look, that's still green and growing. This mistletoe here is looking very pasty and it's lost its nature. But that is still growing. So I'd say the tree is shrinking back to life in this. Look, and it's trying to survive by throwing out little shoots. Look at that little shoot there. Quite amazing really, isn't it? Nature doesn't want to die, it wants to keep going. And look, there's another example here. Look, this tree on its side. Now this tree has been on its side all my life. All my life it's been like that. I've never known that tree upright. And it's got worse actually, but when we were kids, little young kids, we used to climb on there. And look at it, it's gone over on its side, but it's still hanging on in there. Look at that. Amazing, isn't it? I'd never want to take that down. If it dies maybe, but while it's still alive, I think to myself, fair play to you, tree. And look at it, the middle's gone. It's incredible, the rabbits like it. Look, they obviously sit on there. But look at it, the bark's gone on that side. How can that still be alive? Amazing. So this tree, actually, oh God, I'm going to say it again. This tree is interesting. This tree was one of 2 my dad planted. He told me, I think he bought it at Yate Market. So he planted one here, and he planted one up there. The one up there went, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, 12 years ago maybe. And the one here went only a couple of years ago. So they obviously both were the same age, and they both decided to go at the same time. And they both went the same way. They didn't die, they just blew over. Like that, just went one night. I think I'll put another tree there once that one's dealt with. These are trees underplanted under stewardship back in the probably early 2000s that was put in. So that's probably about 20 years old now. Right, and there's two other trees. I didn't really talk about this when I was doing the fencing. These two trees, I might have mentioned it before in other videos. These two trees were planted in memory of my dad. That one there and the one over there, they're Morgan Sweet cider trees, and they were planted. It was my dad's favourite tree. He always liked the Morgan Sweets, the cider tree, apple, but it looks like a Golden Delicious, and it is. Some people eat it. I'm not so keen on it. We planted those, and that's actually taken from a cutting. There was a tree there which blew down, died. The last Morgan Sweet on the farm died just after he died, actually. And so after he died, but before that tree died, I arranged to get some cuttings and the grafts done to produce some replacements for it. And luckily I did it at the right time, and that we planted those grafts probably the year after he died, and they've taken really well. And then that tree died a year later, so if I hadn't done it then, it was going to be too late. So now we've got two Morgan Sweet trees here, one there, and we have another one in the other orchard as well, so there's three. So there's three Morgan Sweet trees. They're late coming out in blossom and in leaf, actually. It's quite interesting again. Look, some of these apple trees have got green leaves on them and flowers. Some of them are later than others. That Morgan Sweet's later. So that was a well worth doing project, really. That created two new trees from an existing tree that was here, and they just take a long time to get going. They say you plant. When did you plant a tree? 10 years ago, I think it is, isn't it? But wow, but well worth it. Plant a tree, plant an apple tree, and you just have a beautiful thing to look at on the orchard. And these are a couple of trees we planted last year. A chap called Val bought these, and a friend of a friend, and we put them in. Just starting to get going. It'll need pruning up at some point, but I like to leave them a bit longer to get going, really. So that's Val. If you're watching, there's your tree, and the other one's over there. Right, and then you see the blossom on them all now, can't you? So look at that. That's lovely, isn't it? Lovely jubbly, as they say. Right, I'm getting on in. I'm cracking on in. The Downer cow is up here. She's gone into the shed now, but she's chewing the cud. She's gonna end up back in the milking her because she's not actually a dry cow. The one we put a friend with, though, look, that's a dry cow. That's just to keep her company. Right, well, another couple of days on, and I've actually done the fencing all the way along now. Let me just show you. Cows are out here now, look, just as well I finished this when I did. I've run the fence all the way along as far as I could go without running out, until I ran out of stakes. Look, so this is where I ran out of stakes. I've got that to do. I couldn't really do much more, even if I had stakes, until I'd cleared this tree. I probably would have gone as far as there. And if I get the new stakes, what I might do is actually just finish that section there, and then I've got to deal with that. I've got to cut that out, move that out of the way, and then do that final bit. But it's looking good. I still haven't made my mind up whether to cut these off or not. It probably would look better cutting those down to there. They're firm enough. I think they'll bed in a bit. They're still a bit wobbly. I don't know whether I could have whacked that down a bit more. But the fence is certainly going to take the weight of the cattle. I've got no worries about that. And I put the that old wire back. The reason the spacing is like it is that the two lower rails will basically stop any calves. If there's any calves born out here just getting through, they can still get under like a limbo dance, but they won't walk underneath that rail. And then obviously the top rail is a bit higher because you want to be the height to stop a cow getting out. So the gap there is filled with the wire. That's why it's like that. Downer cow, she's the one over there on the right. she's looking a lot better now. She's definitely okay. What we're going to do is on Monday I'm going to put her in a loose box with a calf on her, and I think we'll just let a calf suckle her for a week or so. The last of the heifers that haven't been out yet are over there. We brought them round into that yard. They'll be going out on Monday. So you're watching this a bit after the event. By the time you're watching this video, those heifers will be out, and the last of our heifers will be out. And what a relief that'll be. I was just so glad to get everything out. I don't want to do any more cattle inside. Everyone's getting their cattle out now. It's just a great feeling, really. And do you know what? The other thing as well, what a great feeling it was to be working out here. I kind of think it's quite funny, because some people sort of say to me, why don't you get a post rammer or a knocker and stuff and do everything machinery? Do you know what? I actually really like coming out and doing physical graft, hard work, you know? I'm not a fat obese guy, and I kind of think that probably is partly because I do a lot of this stuff by myself, you know, using my hands rather than the machine. But I actually really liked being out here. Do you know what? Lovely this morning. I was out there moving the fence for the cows. Look, they all know it's milking time. They're all going in, look. Look at that. I haven't even called them. Look, it's quite amazing. I haven't called them. My presence is enough for them to think it's time for milking. Look at that. They're all off. I'm gonna have to go and do the milking, aren't I? But yeah, it's just a lovely feeling to be outside. You know, anyone can be a farmer in the summer, really. It's a lot easier, but even if it's still graft, it's a better feeling. But to be a farmer in the winter, especially livestock, it's slog. It really is. I don't deny that. I find it a real slog. By the time I get to sort of March time, I've had enough of feeding and bedding down. You know that, I've said it before. And now we got them out. What a gorgeous feeling. I was out here, like I said, the swallows were flying. This was 6:30 in the morning. The swallows were flying round. I was listening to a wren singing. If you ever listen to a wren singing, it's got a very sweet little song, beautiful sound. And you know, the world's good. So anyway, all the work's in front of me for the summer, but that's all good, because if you've got the English countryside and you've got a sunny day, you've got the best place in the world to be, I think, you know. Right, let's go and get these moos in for milking. There they go. Come on then, girls. Go on, crack on.